What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry back with you guys here on the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. Wish we could have done an instant reaction to this video to get it out to you guys a little bit sooner, but we were also live over on our Bengals channel for that watch party today. But the news of the day around college football today, Auburn has now fired head coach Hugh Freeze after just another embarrassing loss to the Kentucky Wildcats on Saturday. And I got to be honest with you guys, this really just makes me chuckle. It really does make me laugh. And if it makes you guys laugh as well, if you guys enjoy when Auburn loses, when they're going through, bad parts throughout their, program here, make sure you guys get down there and drop a like on today's video. This Auburn team just overall, they are our biggest rivalry. They are our little brothers. So if you guys enjoy it when Auburn loses, make sure you guys get down there and like today's show. Now, I told you guys they did lose yesterday to Kentucky, and Kentucky's just an absolutely awful team. There's no reason why a roster as talented as this Auburn's roster is, that they should have lost to Kentucky, man. They had Ashton Daniels in there. It was his first collegiate start here, and Auburn wasn't able to even scrape a touchdown in this game. Actually, the only touchdown in this game came from former Alabama wide receiver there, Kendrick Law. Whether it's the offense, defense actually played pretty well in that game, but it is Kentucky at the end of the day, so who really cares there? This Auburn team has just been a dumpster fire over the past couple of years with Hugh Freeze, and it's actually kind of hilarious. He started off the same exact record as Brian Harsin did, and they fired him after a season and a half. You can see the overall record here and the SEC record for Hugh Freeze at Auburn went 15-19 just overall, and then 6 and 16 in the SEC. He just hasn't been able to cut it. And it's kind of hilarious that, they made fun of Alabama when they went out and they hired Kalen DeBoer after Nick Saban retired. They were calling him Husky Harsin. Well, the name really doesn't, fit the same way here because they were calling him that because the Washington Huskies there. But still, man, when you talk about terrible coaching hires, this Auburn, athletic program just constantly makes terrible hires. And they fired the one good coach that they ever had in Gus Malzahn, who actually did a pretty decent job against Nick Saban. This is what Hugh Freeze had to say on Saturday night after that Kentucky loss, saying my job is to get this team ready to play and win games, and we have failed to do that this year, and it is frustrating. I still believe that we're really close. He just constantly says that. We're really close. But in reality, with him as the head coach, you were never going to be very close at all. Also added that, he is frustrated and he gets it too. And then he was also, there were some Auburn fans, booing Hugh Freeze as he was walking off the field. Auburn student section there was chanting, "Fire Hugh Freeze," and he was straight up asked about that. And he said, "I would love for their patience, but I understand that you're probably not going to be getting patience from them because they want to see a better product on the field, and so do I, so I understand it." It's absolutely hilarious to see both LSU and Auburn burning to the ground right now. So I want to hear from you guys down at the pinned comment of today's video. You guys can get creative with this one down inside the comment section. What is your one-word reaction to Hugh Freeze being fired as Auburn's head coach? Get creative, get funny, down inside the comments section, down at the pinned comment of today's video. Now, what is, moving forward for this Auburn Tigers team? Their defensive coordinator, DJ Durkin, will now take over as the interim head coach. And this is not the first time that DJ Durkin has had to take over as an interim head coach. He also took over for Will Muschamp at Florida back in 2014. And he was, by the way, also the head coach of Maryland for 2 seasons, posted a 10-15 overall record there. So not very good as a head coach overall in his career. And Alabama, it's pretty interesting now. They have 2 more games left on their schedule where they will be facing an interim head coach. LSU this week, and then you also have Auburn in the final week of the season. All right, we'll continue with some more Auburn hate here in just a second. But this episode is brought to you guys by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks, and the weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. This is what we got cooked up for the power play for those professional football game slates tomorrow night. Going with Dak Prescott, more than passing yards for him. Going with Jacoby Brissett, more than passing plus rushing yards for him. So total yards there for Jacoby Brissett. It's not just pass or rush. It's both of those being combined there. Prize Picks, by the way, is the only app that offers stacks, meaning that you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want more than on Josh Allen passing yards, rush yards, and touchdowns. Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. And on Prize Picks, by the way, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play like we just showed you there. No matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link's going to be down in the comments section and the description of today's video. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now, I still think that you cannot overlook either one of these teams, whether it's LSU or Auburn. Both are very talented enough to end up beating you if you come into those games acting like you should win the game just because you should. LSU and Auburn both have very, very talented rosters. Auburn, the past 2 seasons, have recruited at a top 10 recruiting class type of level. They shelled out a ton of money over the past 2 years, and this year, though, their 2026 recruiting class isn't doing so hot. I think they're like number 36 or something like that. But the guys on the roster right now actually are pretty good, and they have added some very decent additions in the transfer portal as well, that being Auburn and LSU. But you know what's kind of crazy about this year's Iron Bowl? Shout out to my guy, Matthew Travis. We're friends going back to both of our times being students at Alabama. He actually texted this, into one of my friend group chats here. You guys might know Matthew, whether that's on Twitter. He's also in media as well. I don't know if he discovered this or if he saw this or whatever, but he's the one that brought it to my attention. This is now going to be the 7th straight Iron Bowl with a very unique head coaching matchup going all the way back to 2019, which was actually the last time Auburn won the Iron Bowl. It was Nick Saban versus Gus Malzahn. And if you remember back in 2020, Nick Saban actually got COVID. So Steve Sarkisian was actually the head coach of that 2020 Iron Bowl. So it was Sarkisian versus Gus Malzahn there. 2021, Nick Saban versus Brian Harsin. After that, they fired Brian Harsin in the middle of that 2022 season. So it was Nick Saban versus Cadillac Williams there. And then 2023, Nick Saban versus Hugh Freeze. And then after that, Nick Saban retires. So then you have Kalen DeBoer versus Hugh Freeze there. And then in 2025, Kalen DeBoer versus DJ Durkin is now going to be that new head coaching matchup there. So I thought that was very, very interesting that going all the way back to 2019, you have not had the same 2 head coaches going head-to-head in the Iron Bowl. So who does Auburn hire as their next head coach? This is another opportunity for you guys to put your jokes and just be silly down in the comment section because I absolutely love it when the Auburn Tigers burn. Who's going to be the next head coach of the Auburn Tigers? I want wrong answers only down in the comment section. Get down there and have fun. So this is just another time where Alabama actually is able to win on the bye week. Auburn hired Hugh Freeze just to be able to beat Nick Saban because you're going back to his time at Ole Miss. He beat Nick Saban 2 years in a row there. And in the one matchup that those 2 coaches had together, Jalen Milroe, of all players, hits them with a 4th and 31 dagger. And then last season, Kalen DeBoer obviously steps in as the new head coach, and he gets the win there. Auburn didn't even care that he was calling escorts on his university-issued cell phone at Ole Miss. They only hired Hugh Freeze to be able to beat Alabama, and he was unable to do that in his time as the Auburn Tigers head coach. They actually even made up a fake story about Brian Harsin that he was having an affair with one of his assistants just to be able to get him fired. Well, if you look back at it, who was really the worst head coach? Both of these guys started off their careers at Auburn with the exact same record. I love seeing Auburn crash and burn more than I love seeing LSU crash and burn. You know, their fans are just constantly so annoying with their, Auburn family BS that we see all the time. I just absolutely love seeing it, and I hope the next head coach at Auburn ends up being just as big of a bust as Hugh Freeze was, and the cycle just continues to run.